YouTube! Today, we're going to Andover, Kansas, and word on the street is this tornado nearly hit 2 nuclear plants. Let's check it out.
It's a late April afternoon in the Central Plains, and this F5 tornado is tracking towards the largest city in Kansas, Wichita. To make a bad situation even worse, this tornado is heading straight for the McConnell Air Force Base.
God, dude.
The new threat of numerous more people and expensive military equipment being damaged is vastly overshadowed by the biggest threat of them all. This F5 tornado, with winds well above 200 miles per hour, is heading straight for a few planes that are carrying nuclear weapons.
Winds over 200 miles per hour. It meets at least one of the parameters to be a F5.
It's April 26, 1991, and the threat for severe weather over the Central Plains
91. I know a lot of you wasn't even born yet, dude. There's no shot.
has been building for a few days now. The National Weather Service had picked up on the substantial threat on the day prior and issued the warning that, quote, computer models were indicating this to be a very significant severe weather producers with tornadoes occurring across the central and southern plains. In the days and hours leading up to this event, an extremely strong trough had moved over the U.S. and is moving east. Tens of thousands of feet up in the atmosphere, the trough contained winds of 85 to 100 miles per hour. Slightly lower in the atmosphere, the low-level jet at 5,000 feet still...
Yo, serious question. Let me know in the comments below. What state do you think is the worst for tornadoes? What state do you think is worst for, like, strong tornadoes, okay? I should be a little bit more clear on that. Not, the state that gets the most tornadoes, but the worst of the worst. So far, I kind of feel like Oklahoma is kind of leading the charge there. I mean, you've had the Moore, Oklahoma tornado, El Reno, Bridge Creek and Moore, El Reno and Piedmont. Okay, Piedmont. Just saying, man. They've had several strong tornadoes.
Had winds at 70 miles per hour. A surface low-pressure area existed over southwestern Nebraska, supporting a dry line southward into Texas and a warm front southeastward across eastern sections of Kansas and Oklahoma. The dry line would act as an essential part of this setup, as it would act as a form of lift to help thunderstorms develop later in the afternoon. The National Weather Service, noting all of these telltale signs of a significant severe weather setup, decided to issue a rare high risk for thunderstorms and tornadoes for this day. Meanwhile, back in the target area, surface dew points had rose to well above 60 degrees. An abundant sunshine in the area led to the development of 4,000 plus joules of CAPE. CAPE stands for Convective Available Potential Energy, and explained simply is basically fuel for thunderstorms and tornadoes. The general rule of thumb is that you need roughly 1,000 joules of CAPE to have tornadoes, so on a day like today where you have 4 times that at 4,000 joules, that's going to be plenty to have violent thunderstorms and tornadoes. Also, aloft in the atmosphere, there's a slight capping inversion that will keep too many thunderstorms from forming, which would ruin the environment for the tornadoes later in the day. As the afternoon begins and progresses, the aforementioned dry line races east across Kansas before slowing and nearly stalling across central Kansas. Just after noon local time at 12:20 p.m., the National Weather Service issued a PDS Tornado Watch, which stands for Particularly Dangerous Situation, for strong to violent tornadoes to occur later that afternoon. Early in the afternoon, thunderstorms would initially struggle to develop as they fought with the capping inversion, but eventually as the strong winds of the jet stream approached, thunderstorms would erupt violently on the dry line. As the thunderstorms developed and intensified, a handful of supercells would become dominant and begin dropping tornadoes. At 5:49 p.m., the supercell that's heading towards Wichita begins to spin and a tornado soon develops near the town of Clearwater, Kansas. 16 minutes.
I've heard of Clearwater, Kansas before. I don't know why. Has there been like a bad tornado there before or something? But I remember specifically Clearwater, Kansas.
Later, at 6:05 p.m., the National Weather Service issued a statement urging the residents in the town of Hayesville, Derby, and Mulvane to seek shelter immediately. And just 4 minutes later after this, a formal tornado warning was issued for the storm. At 6:16 p.m., the intensifying tornado began to affect the southeastern side of Wichita. The tornado directly impacted the town of Hayesville, where it would produce strong F2 to F3 damage in the neighborhood. As the tornado impacted Hayesville, it began to expand to about a width of 220 yards and started to acquire multi-vortex tornado characteristics.
Uh-oh.
The tornado then crossed the Kansas Turnpike about half a mile south of the South Wichita interchange. At 6:24 p.m., the intensifying and now violent tornado is approaching the McConnell Air Force Base. As the now violent tornado is approaching the Air Force Base, one of the workers is about to record one of the most notable and recognizable tornado videos of all time.
Look at that, dude. Dude, the thing's almost perfect. It's like a rectangle coming out of the sky. That's insane. A very violent rectangle.
You got this on camera?
You can tell this is old, man. You got that on camcorder, buddy? Hey, y'all need to be inside. Get inside. Look at that debris. Yeah, some of these people stress me out, man. It's like, watching Reed Timmer. It stresses me out. Any of that debris could get slung at him. Ooh, there's the goat chill.
As the tornado passes through the Air Force Base,
That was some
it
good
barely
footage.
misses a line of 10.
This guy made Andy proud. He made Andy proud.
B-1B bombers, each worth $280 million, and 2 of which were equipped with nuclear warheads. On the base, 9 major facilities took a hit from the tornado and were destroyed. In addition to this, 102 of the housing facilities that were on base were also hit and destroyed by the tornado. Surprisingly, nobody was killed in the Air Force Base, but 16 people were injured. And the total damages on the base reached $62 million. In eastern Wichita, some well-built homes in the Greenwich Heights subdivision were completely leveled.
Hey, at least no one was hurt. You can replace that stuff. No one was hurt. That's the big one. With that said, I am curious. With the, having an Air Force base there with all this expensive equipment and nuclear weapons, do they have precautions that they take to protect these weapons so they don't get sucked up in like a big F5 tornado and launched at the general public? Just out of curiosity. I feel like, if I have an Air Force base in like Tornado Alley, anywhere, really, especially if it's known to get a lot of tornadoes, there should be some form of if there's potentially violent storms rolling through that area and you see that a day or two out, maybe there should be some type of underground space to put these things. It's just the thought. They may do that.
Leveled indicated of strong F3 to F4 damage. and unfortunately 4 people were killed at this location.
R.I.P.
As the tornado continued on its northeastward track, it began approaching the town of Andover, Kansas.
Here we
The
are.
forecasters at the National Weather Service, now seeing what damage this tornado has done, issued a heightened tornado warning for the areas in the path of the storm that a damaging tornado is on the ground and approaching their location very shortly. Despite this heightened tornado warning being issued, the actual tornado sirens in the town of Andover never went off. At 6:31
Andover, what are you doing?
p.m., with the tornado sirens having failed, the police drove through the town and the Golden Spur mobile home park with their sirens blaring, trying to alert people of the threat that was now coming.
W police, they're trying. What happened with the siren? Not the police sirens, but the tornado sirens. What happened? Does anybody know? That's rough, man. So now you got people, like, they're already in a bad situation. Mobile homes. We all know mobile homes are a disaster to be in, even in a weaker tornado. Your home's going to get obliterated. And now the tornado sirens are, like, just not working. Disaster. I can already feel what's going to happen right here.
10 minutes later, the now large wedge tornado entered southern Andover and began to impact the mobile home park, which ultimately suffered a direct hit. Of the 244 homes,
Take a look. Look at that car. You know, I've seen this in, all the big F5 videos, well, most of them, and you see mangled cars, man. It just still blows my mind. To understand, like, go out there and try to move a car. Right? Just lift up the backbone. Don't hurt yourself. I know some of you all are like 90. And it's kind of routine. If you're 30 plus nowadays, you got a bad back. It happens, man. It happens. So don't get too crazy. Just kind of lift up on it. Experience the weight. Just a little bit of it. And I bet money this tornado just picked this white car, or what used to be a car, whirled it around in the air and just slammed it down. I mean, look at that. That thing's crushed. You could just take it straight to the recycling center and get money out of it. Absolutely insane. And here's the aftermath of mobile homes, right? Once again, I'm back to that. What would you all do? If you lived in a mobile home, you're fixing to be impacted by a tornado, you do not have an underground shelter to get into. You have two options. You stay in your mobile home, or you get in your car and try to run. What do you do? Now, I'm going to say this, right? I am not a professional. Do not listen to me. These are my personal opinions and what I would do. I'm in a mobile home. I know there's a big tornado coming. Or even a small, boys, an F2 or an F3 will destroy a mobile home. We know that. If I'm in a mobile home, and I know a tornado's coming, I'm getting in my car and I'm trying to dodge. Every time a tornado has hit a mobile home park, or a mobile home or a trailer park, whatever, it's always just this. This is a good visual.
homes in the park, 205, or about 84% of them, were destroyed. Interviews after the event found that 339 residents were home during the tornado, of which 146 of them evacuated. 149 of them
So they went with my idea there. They got the heck out of there. Just say it.
sought refuge in a community shelter, while 38 remained.
Yes! Look. Anybody that's watched this channel long enough. Anyone that's watched this channel long enough. I'm sorry there. I screamed. I didn't mean to. I'm excited. It's rare that I hear the words community shelter. Andover. I'm proud of you, Andover. You know, somewhere close by, there's a community shelter. Kansas. Good job, Kansas. More Oklahoma. For real though, take notes. This was in 91, by the way. This is in 91. They're ahead of the game. This is good. And it was close to a mobile home trailer park, right? One of the perfect places to have it. Right? You got people that are very vulnerable to any form of a tornado. Right? And so their local government or whatever, state, whatever, whoever did this, good on you. You saved lives that day, no doubt. Great. They had a place they could go close by. They had a place close by that they could go. I feel like if you're in some of these hotter spots for tornadoes, that should be common. That should be common practice. I should not have to get excited because they did this. that should be common. But anyways, this was back in 91. Once again, it's back in the day. They were onto the right idea. Good job, Andover, Kansas. All right, back to the video.
In their homes. As expected, no casualties occurred among the individuals who fled the mobile home park before the tornado hit. However, among the group of people who stayed, 13 people were killed and 17 more would be injured. Just to the west of this mobile home park, some extremely well-built homes were swept clean from their foundations, earning this tornado its F5 rating. Throughout the rest of the city, over 1,500 further homes would be destroyed by this tornado. As the F5 tornado tore through Andover, another one of the most famous and recognizable tornado videos of all time was being recorded.
Look at that, dude. Can you hear the roar? Wait a minute, was that a car? Hold on. Hold on a minute. No, never mind. What? No, did you guys see it on the left side of the screen? Hold on. Come on. You see that big chunk of something? It almost looks like two headlights. Is that a car? You guys see that right here, right? There. Is that a freaking car? Are you kidding me? Boys, that was a car. That looked like a car. Oh my God. Yo, that's pure evil, dude. Also, one last thing, and I'll stop rambling so much. Why did people 30, 40 years ago have so much better camera footage than we do nowadays? I swear the amount of times we got like these $1,000 phones and stuff, and everything you see is like fuzzy, and people are having a seizure in the process, and it just gives me a headache. And then you have people like 40 years ago, they had like these 15-pound recorders, and they're just steady as can be, smooth. The picture's beautiful. Explain it.
The tornado would continue eastward, affecting the outskirts of the town of Towanda. And then 20 minutes later, the violent tornado would dissipate just west of the town of El Dorado and north of the Kansas Turnpike. Along the tornado's path, 84 frame houses and 14 businesses were leveled. A total of 225 people would also be injured. The tornado stayed on the ground for 1 hour and traveled 46 miles. This would also be the final tornado in Kansas to be rated F5 before the implementation of the enhanced Fujita scale about 15 years after this event. And although this tornado was done, the parent supercell would go on to produce more tornadoes throughout the rest of the day and night. One of these tornadoes dropped almost immediately after the Andover tornado dissipated. The tornado would develop to the south of the town of Cassaday and track essentially along the Kansas Turnpike, just like the previous tornado. In the path of the tornado, and documenting it, was a local news station out of Kansas. After traveling northeast on the turnpike along with the tornado, they soon realized they were in a very bad situation with the tornado hot on their tails. They made the conclusion that they could not outrun the tornado, so they decided to seek shelter from it by exiting their vehicle and going under an overpass on the turnpike. As they proceeded to seek shelter from the oncoming tornado, they were about to record another one of the most infamous tornado videos of all time.
I've had a lot of you tell me this is a horrible idea. And I have a bad feeling.
Get up under the girders. Is that where we want to go? Yes.
The hunter becomes the hunted.
Keep rolling, Ted. It's coming at us. Keep rolling. Come here. Shove yourselves right up.
Oh, there it is.
And hang on to them.
Dude, do you hear that? Dude.
Hang on, you'll be fine. Hang on to the girders.
Don't worry about it. Just hang on, sir. Now what you do?
Okay. Talk to me. What happened? It sounded like a freight train. It just passed right on top of us. People very upset. People underneath the girders of this overpass. They're still hanging on for their lives. It was a tremendous rush. Flying debris everywhere.
Luckily for the news
What was that commentary? Wait, was that a news agency? Like, what was that? This dude's giving a little after-action review.
news crew and everybody else who sheltered under the overpass, the tornado just barely missed them by a matter of feet. Although everybody here survived, had that tornado actually hit the overpass, they likely would have perished, as overpasses are one of the worst places you can shelter during a tornado. During a tornado, overpasses can amplify the tornado.
Good job, boys. Hey, look, I knew you guys wasn't steering me wrong. I knew it. I've had several of you tell me to never get under an overpass. It's dangerous. As it says right there. Dangerous. Try to get in a big ditch. That way you at least don't get hit by the debris. Right? You know, an amazing way to avoid this is don't be chasing the tornado. I get it. I know a couple of you guys that watch my videos, you storm chase, you do that stuff. Hey man, y'all wild. I'm just gonna stop while you're ahead. I do appreciate it because y'all do like some amazing stuff. You help, people need it. You get, you help with the early warning systems. But man, is it dangerous.
Tornadic winds, which could suck you out and leave you vulnerable to the tornadic debris. The April 26, 1991 tornado outbreak happened during a time of modernization for the National Weather Service and helped highlight the value of seeing radar imagery in determining where tornadoes were. In 1991, NEXRAD radar in Norman, Oklahoma was the only one of its kind with Doppler capabilities. Even still, this radar was not clear for day-to-day use yet. In Oklahoma, the higher resolution radar images displayed important storm-scale characteristics such as mesocyclones, some of which were seen well over 125 miles away in Kansas that day. For comparison, some of the outdated radars in Kansas could not detect ongoing tornadoes during the day even though they were closer than the site in Norman. Instead, forecasters in Kansas had to rely on the public and storm chasers to issue warnings on this day. In an internal assessment of the event, the National Weather Service concluded that the National Weather Service should continue to implement the NEXRAD radars across the nation. This event illustrates the usefulness of NEXRAD velocity fields and reflectivity data to see where tornadoes are. In the years since Andover, the implementation of these radars across the country has led to a much greater lead time for thunderstorms and tornadoes when they're approaching, arguably saving many lives in the years since. And always, folks, I hope you learned something and thank.
Alright, guys. Hey. WCF Productions. I'll have a link to his channel and this video in the description below. Make sure to check it out. Give the video a like and all that good stuff. He puts a lot of effort into these, so hat off to CF Productions. With that said, man, what a wild one. I'm glad it obviously missed the nuclear weapons. That's a good thing. Hopefully, over the years, they've learned that, you know, hey, if we're going to have this stuff in Tornado Alley, we probably need to have a plan that if there's going to be bad storms, we get it somewhere where a F5 tornado won't pick it up and, you know, launch it at Andover. Just a thought. Just a thought. Anyways, hey, Andover, boys, good job, man. Hey, community shelter. You need to fix your tornado sirens, right? That's bad. That's real bad. Hopefully you fixed those. I'm sure you did. But you took these extra precautions. You had a community shelter that was close to a trailer park. These people had a place to go. Hey, hats off to the police officers. You know, they're getting ahead of this storm. They're going to these areas that are maybe going to get impacted, but they're very susceptible to tornadoes, like trailer parks. So they go there. They warn these people, like, hey, you got to get out of here. Tornadoes coming. Seek shelter. Do something. And then you have storm chasers. You know, their National Weather Service was struggling back then, who are calling ahead, letting people know. Early warning systems, man. It's what we're always trying to improve on. And due to those efforts of the storm chasers, the police officers, and precautions that that town made ahead of time through the having, you know, community shelters available, they saved a lot of lives. A lot of people in that trailer park were able to get away from the storm. They had somewhere safe to go. So that's all I ask. And as far as the people that decided to stay home, look, man, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You know, the town did its part as far as having something available for them to use. Tornado sirens not going off, not a good look. But you had storm chasers giving people notifications. The police officers rushed in there to let people know, like, hey, you know, this storm is going to hit us. We got to get somewhere safe. So kudos to Andover. This is back in 91. Hopefully, you know, after watching this, there's no excuse anymore. No excuse. Everywhere that's heavily impacted, more Oklahoma, please. Community shelters, man. Just have one. Especially have it close to the most crucial place that you can think. Hey, if you have a town and it's got it's got trailer parks, or it's, you know, it has several mobile homes, might be a good spot to put it. All right, I'm going to stop rambling. Guys, I am Cheap. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. We'll catch you in the next one.